Thank you, Ginny, for this introduction. I think people are still coming. So I would be admitting them as we go along, or you have the same capabilities there, Ginny?
Yes, I can do that. So don't worry about that.
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen and see if I can. Do you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna start, and this presentation is about, what a federal and state relief program available today in COVID-19 situation going on today. And we know that everybody is affected. So in presentations like this, what I'd probably like to do is to introduce ourselves, introduce SBDC a little bit, because to our surprise, we've seen that SBDC, is a lesser known entity sometimes and what we do is lesser known. The impact of is lesser known. So we want to take this opportunity to like maybe 5 to 10 minutes or take this opportunity to explain what we do. So SBDC is the leading business advising and education resource in our state. Very few people know that. We have advisors that are helping people today in every aspects of loans and grants. We do business advising. We help people grow their business. We help people exit out of their business. Pretty much every aspect of business, starting from cradle to the grave, if you may call it that way. But start of the business where people are trying to figure out how to write their business plans, all the way to how do I sell this business and exit. We have partners. Paul College at UNH is one of our outreach partner. We are funded by SBA. We're part of BEA, and we have funding from other private sectors as well. The leading source of education, when we say that, we actually mean it. We have so many courses, online courses that are available that very few people know about. So if you go to our website and on the right top corner, there's this red button which says Find e-courses. And if you click that, it takes you to this place where you can learn how to start a business in New Hampshire. You can learn how to, learn about social media and how that can enhance your business, and what does each social media bring to your business. So very important courses. Learn about finances, financial numbers, cash flow, income statement, balance sheet, and how you can start to impact those numbers, being the leader in your business. And if you have a consulting or you're starting your own business as a sole proprietor, you're trying to do a lot of stuff, and there's some checklists. Not only this, there's tons of other courses that are out there. So I recommend everybody to visit that and see if you can take advantage of that. It's not moving. Give me a second here. For some reason, the presentation got stuck. Okay. So impact standpoint, again, we have a lot of clientele base in New Hampshire. In 2019, we had in-person meetings with 932 clients. Our impact is estimated to be around $147 million in NH economy. That equates to $18 million of capital infusion, which is a lot. And I think all of this that is happening today amid COVID situation will also kind of add a little bit to our effort if we are helping you in any way to get that. We increased our client revenues. We help our clients grow, bring more jobs to New Hampshire. and it's a very holistic impact that actually very few people know about. So from here, I'll just start to jump into, what are the programs that are available today that people can take advantage of, small business can take advantage of. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the NH Workshare program, which was one of the first one program that was out there helping people in this situation. If in this situation, people are taking actually advantage of this program, by temporarily reducing their workforce. They can reduce a particular unit, or a shift, reduce it by 10 to 50%, and can avoid layoffs on a mass scale. This way, employees stay with the company, the morale is higher, the productivity and the flexibility of the workplace is maintained, and people feel that they're, any lost wages can be compensated by unemployment benefits, and that helps the economy to kind of run in a smoother way. Eligibility wise, any New Hampshire employee is eligible for that, whose taxes are currently up to date and they are in good standing, which, hopefully majority of the companies are. And more information is available on nhes.nh.gov website. Very easy to go. Pretty much everybody knows this website if you're an employer or an employee, and more information is available there. Any question on this?
If you have a question, please type it into the chat box. Heidi Edwards-Dunn, who is with us also from the Small Business Development Center, says lots of information and links to relief programs are on the Small Business Development Center's COVID-19 assistance webpage, and she provided the link in the chat. We also link to this page from our COVID-19 page on our website, and it's a terrific, terrific resource. In terms of Workshare, I just want everybody to know that nonprofit organizations are also eligible for the Workshare program.
So we can, if there's no question, we can. Yeah.
Oh wait, we do have a question. Is it true that all employees have to be reduced by the same percentage?
I don't believe that, because that's a good question, actually. I don't believe that, but I think we can, this information is available. This should be available on the NHES website in the facts. I don't believe that.
Okay, and a comment, self-employed and sole proprietors are also eligible for Workshare.
I believe that, yes.
Yep, okay. Excellent.
All right. Moving to the next slide. NH unemployment benefits, so that's the next one that came in, and people are taking advantage of that as well. More so, the information that is not on the slide is that after CARE Act, there is extra $600 that a federal government is going to put in people's account per week. I believe starting this week, and that is a lot on top of what somebody who is either furloughed or laid off from from a company can make. And even employers are eligible. Somebody who is a sole proprietor or self-employed can also take advantage of this. So this is a very important benefit for people who have just lost a lot of revenue. Either their clients have stopped coming, especially in arts community where shows are canceled, and people are not able to see the same revenue that they were seeing in the past. So very important benefit for them. This could result in per week check from anywhere from around $700 to to approximately $1,000 per week for people who apply for this. So very important benefit. That's what I'd like to say here. Any question on this?
So does this apply to part-time as well?
This does apply to part-time, yes.
Excellent.
And people who are taking care for their families, in this situation, if somebody's sick in their home or they're sick, they are definitely eligible at that time as well.
Great. And someone just asked whether the slides will be made available after the presentation. Yes, you'll get a follow-up email, and that will include a link to where you can download the slides. And actually, Vardan or Heidi, if you want to send me the updated PowerPoint, I may be able to attach it to the chat. So.
Sure. Heidi, you want to do that?
Sure.
Thank you.
So from
Oh,
here,
okay, wait, there's a question, sorry. Are people receiving unemployment benefits yet? I have been waiting about 4 weeks now without formal approval.
yes, there is definitely a backlog because the surge of unemployment that has happened in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, has just clogged the system a little bit. But I've been hearing that people are getting unemployment. They have been applying, and as of last week, I think I know people who are getting unemployment. And this week they were supposed to get $600 added, even to the extent that they were prorated back from April 1st, I've been hearing. So, this is what I would say to people is that just have a little bit patient with the system. If you're not hearing, you will hear from them. Shooting an email or reaching out to your it's not a bad idea, because they will reply to you eventually as they're clearing up their clog in the system. So just be patient. You'll probably hear back from them. That's what I would say on that.
And Vardan, I have another question. Is it retroactive?
Is it retroactive? I think it is retroactive as far as we've been told today, the knowledge that we have today. Not for the unemployment part from the state, because that I think is when you start. But I think the federal money, might be retroactive, because
I wonder if is it based on the date of the stay-at-home order?
I believe that's true. However, we are in the midst of such a rapid change in policies and procedures, and so much happening at the same time, that we all are experiencing this situation, that the knowledge that we have yesterday is changing today. Okay, so we're seeing that in every aspect of this, and we understand the frustration. We totally understand the frustration as it has created, and we're seeing part of that ourselves as well. But I would just say that just hang on. We're just getting started with this, and I think a lot more help is coming, and that's all I could say right now. But information is coming out at such a rapid pace. We're holding on to our seats as well. So just bear with us.
Hold on a second. Oh, so now we have, someone says, I was able to speak directly to a New Hampshire Employment Security representative today by calling at 8 a.m. when they open and being on hold for 45 minutes. Got my questions answered. They checked my records, and the woman did do a paper filing for me, even though I had sent it through online. She confirmed the need to be patient and did say to reapply every week, even if you haven't heard back. And then another comment, just a point in passing, all businesses might do an assessment of what has changed in their business plan and marketing plan. Getting money is only one part of reestablishing your business presence.
Right. So the first part of this is having an account set up, right? And they have put up a website where you can set up an account based on your last name. They've given you windows, so the system doesn't get clogged on a single day. But you can go on there, start an account, and once you have an account, you have to apply every week. File for claims. You know, if you can do that, and if you're filing for claims and you're getting rejection, that's fine, because if you're self-employed, you know, sometimes the rejections happen and then they go back in the system and correct it, and soon in some time you'll start getting paid. So just keep filing, you know, and when you file, you have to let them know that you were available for work, but there was no work, right? So you have to check the right boxes and make sure you're filing in the right way. You're not telling that you're earning, you know, you're telling if whatever you have, if you're making some money that week, you have to disclose that. And based on that, they will make a judgment whether you will receive a check or not. But filling that information correctly into the best of your knowledge is what you can do today. And if you're getting rejected at the end, don't worry, you know, they'll go back in the system and fix it if they had to, for certain cases, you know, for self-employed people, particularly because originally self-employed people are not eligible for unemployment, but this COVID situation has changed that, and now they are. So the situation has created some backlog. So just hold on, you know, they will resolve it, and it'll be retroactive after some time, and you all will benefit from that.
And just a heads up to everybody, Heidi was kind enough to send me the PowerPoint. We now have a PDF of it in the chat that you can download.
So moving on to the next benefit, if there is no question, and we can definitely take more questions at the end of the seminar as well. And this is getting stuck every time. So next is economic injury disaster loan. This loan, this came up as the next help through the CARE Act, and this can bring up to $2 million of loan money. Again, this was more of a loan for folks who are small businesses and struggle to pay, you know, their current expenses. You know, payroll, rents, utilities, payables, you know, things like that. So, so they're able to meet their expenses that is happening today. However, later there was an adjustment to this where people can get $10,000 of up to $10,000 of loan advance if they apply. And I think that's on the next slide. But you know, if you can, if you apply and you check a box that you need the up to $10,000 of loan, that would come directly to your bank, and you have to enter that information in there, your bank account and routing number, so it can come fairly quickly. The time that we're seeing today is like anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks that this money shows up in the bank. And what we're hearing is that this is based on one employee. If you're one employee, say you are the only person working in your one employee, you're getting $1,000. If you're not, you are considered, if you're one person company, you are considered as your employee. So you're getting $1,000 check. If you have two employees, you probably get $2,000 upfront. And this portion of the loan is up for forgiveness. So people are applying for, who do not want to take up loan in this situation, they are applying for at least this amount of $10,000, up to $10,000 of relief that is available. So I would recommend everybody, to apply for this. And even if you don't have any employees, just apply for yourself. You will at least get a $1,000 check deposited in your bank account. And if you do need a loan, which is if you're a nonprofit, you will pay 2.75% interest. If you are a for-profit, you'll pay 3.75% interest. And these are for long-term payments, so the cash flow impact is very low. Usually banks don't give that kind of thing. So if you can benefit today from this loan, it's a good loan for people. You don't have to pay for at least 6 months. There is no cash flow impact for the next six months for you, and that's also very, very important aspect of this loan.
Vardan, we have a question. Is it true that you cannot apply for both SBA PPP and EIDL?
That is not true. You can apply for both because what we have to keep in mind is that PPP is another program, and I think we'll come to that next. This program is for payroll protection, okay? Primarily focused on payroll. However, EIDL is focused on every aspect of your expenses. So any current portion of your loan, so if you have a loan that you have to pay every month, and you cannot meet because there's no money coming in. So you can use the current portion for maybe 2-3 months of that portion of the loan in that as well. So there's a lot other things that you can do with EIDL money that you cannot do with PPP as much. Particularly if you're thinking from the perspective of loan forgiveness. So, however, if you use the EIDL money for payroll, then that is the amount that you have to deduct from the PPP when you're going for a loan forgiveness. For example, if you got an EIDL for $2,000 and you use that money to pay for payroll, and then you go calculate your PPP loan and you apply for that and you get that as well. But when you go for loan forgiveness of that, you will not be counting for $2,000. That will be reduced, and then $2,000 will be the amount that you'll pay interest on, which is actually a minimal interest. We'll come to that when we talk about PPP.
Okay, another question. I filled out a brief application online already, but now I think that may have been only for the advance portion. I'm not sure. Is the application a two-part service? Where does one apply for the actual loan rather than the initial up to $10,000 advance?
That is a good question. I have not seen that application because I've not filled it myself. So that's a question that I have to come back to you all, because I believe that there should be an opportunity to apply for loan through that.
Vardan?
Yes.
Hi, it's Heidi. My understanding is that it is a brief application and that SBA will contact you for more details, but it as long as you got to the end and put in your bank account information, that is for the advance, but the application is actually for the whole EIDL loan.
Right. So yes, thank you. I completely blanked out a little bit that time, but yes, you are eligible for more loans, and thank you, Heidi. They will they will get back to you if you applied for a larger sum than $10,000. And they will definitely come back to you for if you are applied for a bigger loan. But $10,000 is an upfront advance, and you're eligible to get that fairly quickly.
Here's another question. We applied when New Hampshire was declared an emergency. We applied again after the CARES Act was passed and asked for the up to $10,000. That was March 31st, and we've heard nothing. Is there any idea on when EIDL will be available?
I think if you applied on March 31st, and I have to go back to the calendar, if that was a Friday, then you need to apply again, because the new application actually came on Monday. So was March 31st? I think the new application came on in April. So you might have to reapply. I don't know if you applied on the web form that is available today. So if they can put it in the chat box, did they apply? Which day did they apply?
Yeah, this says that was March 31st. We applied again, so that was March 31st. We submitted on Tuesday, March 31st.
March 31st. So that should be fine. So they should be hearing back from, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so they should be hearing back. If they have not, then they will. They should be hearing back. That's what I would say. But some applications, some people are getting longer wait time on this than other people. It never hurts to apply again. You know, if they thought that something happened, just go. The number of applications are not limited. So if you feel that you know, there was a glitch or something happened, you feel free to apply again. Because of so many applications, it's very difficult for SBA to actually reach back to everyone. And if due to some web glitch or whatever it was, if you're not, I would say apply again.
And so here's another question. I got an email from the SBA addressed to Dear Applicant. It is unclear if I have to take any other steps. There's a sentence in the email saying, the advance is available as part of the full EIDL application and will be transferred into the account you provide shortly after your application is submitted. I am confused, as I thought I had submitted the application, hence being addressed as Dear Applicant.
Can I take that one quickly, Vardan?
Yes, sure.
We've seen some emails just this morning about this, that people are getting what are basically, you know, bulk emails addressed to them, and it makes it sound like they have not applied. But if you know that you have applied and you get this, basically they're saying, thanks for applying, we're going to get around to you. And just giving you a little bit more information if they can. But I think it's their way to say, yes, we are going to transfer in your up to $10,000, and we will get to the rest of your loan application, but we're just not there quite yet. So don't be appalled and upset, and try to wait another couple of days and see if you get any more emails.
Thanks. Question: What's the last date you can apply for the EIDL loan and $10,000 advance?
As of now, you have to apply. There's no last date right now, but as of now, I think before 30th of June, I hear that, that's the date today, but there's no hard and fast set date today that, is come out yet.
Yeah, I think at the very beginning, they said it was December 31st for the economic injury disaster loan. The PPP, which we'll get to in a few minutes, is different, and that one is June 30th. But my understanding is that it is December 31st because it is a disaster loan and those are handled differently through SBA. And so that right now they're giving people through the 31st of December, and they may even extend that. But at this point, you've got lots of time. And I think that part of that is because you don't always know what the impact of a shutdown is going to be, because you don't know how long it's going to last. You don't know, if 6 months down the road, something else has happened that may affect your business in a different way, that maybe some big event that you were planning to have a show that you were going to have a booth at gets canceled, that's going to make an impact on your business down the road. And so I think that they give you a little bit more space on this one so that you are able to do that. Now, we've also heard that, and Vardan may have more information on this, but that, we keep hearing, oh, they're running out of money, they're running out of money. And we know that Congress is working on, another package, but I think that the impact is so big that we have to trust that they're going to be able to fulfill their promise to have these disaster loans available for people as they discover injuries down, economic injuries down the road.
Yeah,
Maybe
so we have
something else to say about that, Vardan.
We also have a comment here. You have lots of time until they run out of money. And someone also says that the EIDL website says it expires September 30th of 2020, which would make sense in terms of the federal fiscal year.
Yes, but that is different from what they said at the beginning. So thank you for that information. We will double check on that for ourselves too.
Yeah, there's many dates floating around. However, what we hear, and Heidi pointed it out, that yes, no matter what money they come up with, there is always, that people will take that money from the pot, before the end date, right? So now Congress has to come up with more money and they have to put it in the pot again. So my suggestion, the best course of action is apply as soon as possible. And that's the best thing you can do. I was told it takes 20 minutes to fill that application if you have all the information. So if you have not done it, I would say do it today. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here. In fact, now there's another comment in the chat that says, I've heard that claims are now only up to 15,000 for the first round until more money is allocated from Congress.
That
is, again, a new information for me.
Yep. Last week these meetings 25,000. I think it's just as, and I don't know that these are coming out actually from Treasury or SBA either. So
right.
We don't have answers because we don't know everything.
Right. Well, they do want to help more people so they will be reducing that amount. It's pretty much logical to do that. Make sure everybody, a smaller number, like $10,000 would be where we are heading, right? I mean, it's 25, then 15, and now it will be probably 10 in next 2-3 days if you hear about it. Well, they want to reach out to more people, help more people. So that is pretty logical. And, if they can extend the runway, they would do anything possible to extend that runway. So before they put more money in it. So we'll see how it goes, how it develops in the next few weeks to come. But if you have not done it, just do it. That's what I'll say. All right. Should we move to the next?
Yes, I think we're ready to do that.
And this slide is getting stuck again. Somehow it freezes. Okay. The next is payroll protection program. And this is this program has been changing too. It was open for everybody, and then sole proprietors and self-employed people came in, and now sole proprietors are eligible as well. So this program is expanding as well. For loan calculations, people are looking at 2019 expenses on payrolls, and they are making a calculations based on average payroll costs that they had for 2.5 months during the same time last year. And that is how they're deciding what that loan amount would be. And once they get the loan amount, the loan forgiveness part is on the 8-month portion of that loan. So if they are covering, 8-week, did I say month? 8-week portion of that 2.5 month would be forgiven. And that should amount to at least 75% of the payroll cost. And the rest of 25 could be rent and other interest and other expenses that they have. So that's how they are calculating for the loan forgiveness part of it. A maximum amount of 10 million can be taken. So I know folks who have applied for as low as $2,000 to as high as $250,000 for those months. So this is for everybody. It has a maturity of 2 years. There's no personal guarantees, no collateral needed, 100% guaranteed by SBA, and the first 6 months payments are deferred. So again, there's no cash flow impact right away for people who are taking this loan. Even if they are not forgiven and they have to pay a 1% interest on the leftover portion of the loan, that's pretty small. So it is not a huge burden, and everybody is taking advantage of this as of now.
Okay, so I do have a question.
Yes.
Sorry. For the PPP, can you start the 8 weeks of pay when you want? In other words, delay it a few weeks. It will take us a while to get ready to use it. We have to re-engage workers, etc.
Yes, you can do that. It is very, very logical to do that. However, the last day on this is June 30th, I believe, unless it has changed since yesterday. But June 30th was the last day. So yes, you can delay it a little bit. But always remember that the pot of money is again there, and it is shrinking. So if you do not have any employees as of today, it doesn't make sense to take the benefit of this. And you would have employees if you have revenue, and so in that case, if you don't have employees, you don't have revenue, the best for you is to take advantage of unemployment and EID.
Yep, and so this person says, so we could start May 1st. We already have the approval, but we don't want the money yet.
Now that's going to be a tough part. What we are hearing is once you get approved and you have 10 business days to close the loan. And if you don't, then I think it's between you and your lender to decide what happens next. But definitely what we're hearing is that they give you 10 business days to close it. So if May 1st is when you think you should apply, then you have to plan ahead a little bit, maybe apply right now.
And so there's a comment here that says, we were told by our bank that we have to rehire everyone within a week. And the 8-week clock for forgiveness starts as soon as we receive the funds.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
And so we've got another one here that says, I read a New York Times article that indicated that you must hire back employees before the first PPP payment lands in your account. Is this true? Will we be notified of when the check will be delivered?
So this will, to to some extent that is true, and it is beneficial for everybody if they want to get all their money that they get in the PPP, paid and taken care by loan forgiveness. If they don't, I think that could be one of the clause from that. Yes, they have to hire everybody from the beginning. Now, they might not hire everybody. They might hire few people, and then the loan forgiveness part is not based on how much loan they took. It is based on the actual expense of payroll. So when the loan forgiveness part comes, they have to make an assessment on what their expenses were during the time of that 2.5 from when the loan started and for the next 2.5 months. And then they have to make sure that that amount is well documented and presentable to the lender when a time comes, and for loan forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. So now we have a question. Could you review the relationship between EIDL and PPP? If you apply for both, how do the EIDL funds impact PPP?
So EIDL is, as I mentioned earlier, EIDL is more focused on majority of the expenses. There is no 75% or 25% limit on what you can use it for. So you may want to use EIDL money solely for rent purposes, utility purposes, any current payments for the loan, any payables and any expenses other than payroll, and use PPP primarily for payroll, and a little bit for rent, because you have to use majority of which is 75% of that money towards your payroll. So I would suggest focus PPP with payroll and EIDL with rest of the expenses. However, if they can't, then that's fine. Then just the loan forgiveness part will be affected, because EIDLs up to 10,000 is already forgiven, right? So they cannot double dip. Once it is forgiven, they cannot be forgiven again if they use it for payroll. So EIDL, if they use it for payroll, cannot be used with PPP. But if they use it for other expenses, yes, they can get both.
Okay. So we have a question. I pay a company to do my payroll. Can this be considered a payroll expense?
Yes.
Okay. And now another question. I'm concerned with PPP that employers cannot compete with unemployment compensation. Between state unemployment and the federal addition of $600 a week, employees are earning more on unemployment than many organizations pay. How do you recommend employers handle rehiring their furloughed employees when it's more financially beneficial for many, especially part-time employees, to collect unemployment?
Absolutely. So this has been an interesting question, right? Well, the concern originally when this was put in place was that this is going to send America into recession, right? So everybody wanted to do their best to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the first action was taken was that let's put this money right where it belongs. It's in people's hands. So we are able to put food on our table. Anybody who's laid off, can take care, and it doesn't have an impact on the economy as much as we. So that was the intent, right? However, with this PPP program, what government is saying is that, well, as and when the business starts its normalcy and employers are ready to hire their people back, they have to report that to unemployment office, and they need to get these employees back. And once that happens, the unemployment will stop. So for for people who are unable to get their employees back, this will continue. So it's a check and balance situation. So exactly what you're saying doesn't happen. So in case, this could have happened if PPP did not come with this clause, then people would have stayed unemployed for a long time because it's more beneficial for them. But now because of PPP, employers are, given this power to that employees cannot reject work. If they reject the work, then by default, that unemployment has to stop, because that's one of the clause. When you check box, if you go to unemployment form for the week, they will ask, did you reject any work offered to you? And if you check yes, then that unemployment stops. But if you say no and an employer says yes, they're rejecting work, then the unemployment will stop. So it is in best interest for everybody. So when this goes back to normalcy, everybody takes their job back and make sure that happens smoothly without any problems.
Thank you, Vardan. I want to read from the thread here. It's still unclear if forgiveness is based on reverting to pre-COVID employment levels, or if we can claim payroll expenses for the next 8 weeks after receiving the loan based on our current staffing levels. And Heidi responded to that, and she said, SBA and Treasury have said that the next guidance will focus on PPP forgiveness. Hopefully more will become clear.
Yes. Yeah, we've not heard a lot about loan forgiveness yet. And so we just have guidance on what can be done. More will be coming. And definitely lenders are the biggest source of information because PPP is coming through them. So keep working with your lender, keep developing those relationships, and make sure that they and you are well informed on all the things that are happening.
Right. So I'm going to put a link in the chat to the Small Business Development Center's website for their upcoming events and webinars. Because I know you've got a PPP application assistance webinar coming up today. Yes. At 1 o'clock. So, and we have something else in the chat now about forgiveness. My understanding is that the amount of forgiveness is based on payroll relative to your pre-COVID levels.
That.
And then someone else says that's what our lender told us as well.
I think I think what they're probably saying, and we will know more, we hope, is that the PPP is saying that you will be able to get the payroll piece of the use of those funds forgiven if you are back to your the amount of employees, the same status that you had before COVID started by June 30th. Does that sound right, Vardan?
Yes, that sound right.
But that's really like all we know. There are lots of times where it can't happen, or if it's, if somebody has taken a different job, or they still have to stay home because of childcare, or someone has been tested positive and they need to quarantine, or there are so many situations where it's hard to know what the right answer is. And we're hoping that the next piece of information will help to clarify some of that.
Another question. If an owner of a business did not pay themselves, so no record of payroll, can they still apply for PPP and or EIDL?
Are they the only employee, or can I get more clarification on the question?
Yeah, hold on just a second. So I'm waiting for this person to clarify. Yeah, someone says, I have this question as well. I'm the only employee.
Yeah, so if you're self-employed and the sole proprietor, the only employee, I believe you can apply. And this, yes, yes.
And someone else says, if you don't yet have your taxes completed for 2019, there are other forms of documentation you can use. A profit loss statement can be included for 2019. And then when taxes are completed, the taxes can be attached later.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and can I make a couple comments? Because we are literally in the midst of trying to pull together helpful details from the new guidance that came out at the end of the day yesterday. Yeah. And we're trying to pull it together for our 1 o'clock PPP Application Assistance webinar. So we've got some things floating around, and I can read you a couple of things off the slides that just came my way and try to answer a little bit of this. But you'd be better off to come onto our webinar where people who really know what they're talking about or can answer your questions too. You're eligible, so specific rules for self-employed. Eligible if you were in operation on February 15th, 2020, you have self-employment income, you have your principal place of residence in the United States, you have filed or will file a Form 1040 Schedule C for 2019. They have come out saying that that is the only place that you can take information from, that it needs to come from your net profits on your Schedule C. So if you haven't done your taxes, you still have to figure it out. And then, so let's see. Okay, that's enough for now.
Yeah, and I would say that this presentation was made yesterday, completed yesterday, but we changed this morning as well a little bit. So this information is all new as it is coming in, and apologize if there is any changes in that can happen, minor changes that can happen. More information is coming. I would definitely recommend people attending the PPP application because, assistance webinar this afternoon and tomorrow, because it's going to clear up a lot of those, because we are actually going through the nitty-gritty of these applications. Much more detailed information is available in those webinars. So I would definitely recommend. I think the link is right there. Heidi, right? It's a link, right?
I'm putting it in right now.
Okay. So people can definitely attend that and get more.
Ginny beat me to it.
It was saved to my clipboard. Easy to do. So going back to the person that didn't pay themselves, she says, I'm asking for a friend. She was the only employee, but did not process any payroll for herself.
That is the problem, because, and I don't know the answer, and hopefully maybe by the time 1 o'clock rolls around, someone on our team will have figured it out. But when this started, when the PPP started, we thought that, as someone mentioned in the chat, that other forms of information could be used to figure out the payroll piece, quote unquote payroll piece, for the self-employed or the sole proprietor. And now they have come out saying that if you submitted or will submit a 2019 Schedule C, that it has to come off of that. And or if you are very new and in January and February have had income and would be filing a Schedule C in 2020, that they will look at that. But it's really, they're really saying you need to take it from the 2019 Schedule C as long as you were in business in those last 12 months.
Yep.
Changing every day.
Yeah. Morning to evening, I would say. That's what this is.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
with that, I think we're almost towards the end, but definitely visit our website assistant page. A lot of this information is there with many links to relevant informations. Again, we are trying to update that website, as frequently as we can to have new information up there. But I would suggest do visit that website, webpage, and it's really nicely. A lot of work has gone into putting that together. It's a really good web page, and you'll benefit from it.
And if you haven't subscribed to our ENews, you can do that. I just put the link in the chat to subscribe for updates from us in terms of information of the funds that we will be administering through our grant programs.
And we also have an email sign up and the link to the registration for the PPP webinars on our COVID site, so you can find everything there for us as well. And we are trying to send a newsletter every week. Life's a little crazy, so we missed one, but we're trying to do that every week to try to keep people as informed as possible as these things change.
Any other questions?